Jason. How are you today?
I'm doing good, Chris. How about you?
Well, apparently we're having some struggling issues with words and podcast today.
That's right. That's right. Well, welcome to the Leading is Serving podcast.
Yes, thanks for joining us.
That's right. Our goal is to, inspire leaders, inspire business owners to fight for the highest good of others.
It truly is.
And and so that's our heartbeat here on the podcast, and we hope that we hope this is valuable for you as we dig into these things. So
even if you're not a business owner yet.
Yeah, I mean leaders. I mean, even if it, you remember our interview recently with Adam Binkard, right?
Yeah.
Remember he made the comment about leadership is a lot like parenting.
Yes.
And so, I mean, even though we're talking about business, I think a lot of these principles work within our families, our home life, even extended relationships. And so, we hope you find this valuable, 100%. So
for sure.
But man, we're past the 1 year mark as a podcast.
That is crazy.
Isn't that ridiculous?
I mean, when we first were starting, I was like, oh, we're on like episode da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, wow, time is just flying by. And now we've hit a year. I know.
At one point we were like, we can't even mention the podcast numbers because we can't keep track.
Right?
We're not that well structured. We got past 10 fingers and toes.
Right.
We were like, well, now we're stuck. But it's
been a lot of fun.
It has. And so, be sure you check out our new website, leadingisserving.com. You can check out all of the podcasts there. Going back to episode number 1, you can search the show notes. You can search the titles. You can find video. We don't have video for every episode up.
No, we don't.
But we do have a YouTube channel for that, and are endeavoring to do that a little bit better in this second year.
Sure.
What else can we do on the website? I think you can leave reviews there. I think you can
that's great.
Tell people
share some of the podcasts with other people.
Absolutely, it's shareable.
Some of the old ones.
Yeah. You can sign up for a newsletter.
Oh, really?
That we haven't created just yet, but
we're looking for help for that.
Yeah. So clearly, if you put your email address in our website and say, "Hey, sign me up," you're not going to get a lot of junk from us.
No, absolutely not. I do not like junk mail.
Moving forward, we would like to endeavor to keep you in the know a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Send some value and resources your way, but it would not be more than two things a month.
Right.
Something like that. Know that if we're sending it, there's something valuable in there.
There's got to be.
But yeah, we want to stay in touch with you. Feel free to let us know that you're listening. We would love to hear from you.
For sure.
And we're excited about it.
I am. I'm glad you are too. It's just it feels like, with everything there's growth, right? And it's one of those stepping stones of growth.
Yeah. And
which is crazy.
And we're happy to play the slow game. We're good with that.
Right.
So
the organic game is the way to go.
We love that you guys are finding value in this, and we find it valuable doing this.
We for sure.
And so we're glad to keep on. So, hey, we're going to talk about the mindset of a leader today.
Okay.
That we covered this way back at the beginning about a year ago, so it's time to revisit, right?
Right.
But talking about what is a 100x leader. That's a phrase that Giant has been using for a good while. There's actually a book called The 100X Leader written by Jeremy Kubicek, who we just recently had on the podcast.
Right.
And his the other co-owner of Giant, Steve Cochran, that they wrote The 100X Leader. And so what is the concept behind that? What does it mean to be a 100X leader? And so what we're going to talk about, if you think of like a grading scale, 0 to 100.
Okay.
100x being 100 means I am 100% healthy. So that number talks about your health. Okay. That I am 100% healthy as an individual, in the roles that I play, not just business, not just as an owner or a manager or a leader, right?
Yeah.
But as for me, a husband, a father, and I have multiple roles outside of my family that I play. And so am I 100% healthy? That's what that first number is. And so if you imagine that grading scale, 0 to 100, of giving yourself a rating in there. And not necessarily thinking along the traditional lines of, letter grade in school.
I was thinking the same thing.
Of like, I'm giving myself an F.
A, B, C, D.
Right. A minus. No. But thinking it in terms of health, of like, 50% would be kind of like, half the time I'm hitting on most all of the cylinders. The other half the time, yeah, I'm struggling.
Yeah.
100% means every day, every minute, I am 100% on track, right?
Yeah.
And so thinking about it in that terms. And so average really for most leaders is probably somewhere in the 55 to 80%
Okay.
time, being on. And we would call that range mostly an additive type leader. Okay. So, the X at the end of 100X, X being multiplying. Okay. 100, when we're 100% healthy, we're multiplying. But in that average range, say around 70, 75%, okay, that we're additive, meaning we add to the environment around us.
Oh,
okay?
That's good.
So a leader that's sitting around that 70%, 75% range is the kind who's like, hey, my door is open. And if you stop by and you talk to that leader, they're going to be able to set things aside because they're not crazy overrun, right?
Right.
And they're able to set things aside and spend time and listen and invest and go, yeah, this is, my door is always open.
Yeah.
Okay. You're adding to the environment. When you walk into a room, when you walk into a meeting, what you bring to the atmosphere, the presence, the progress of that meeting adds to the moment.
Yeah.
Okay. And so anywhere in that, 70 to 80% range is additive leadership. Okay. When you start getting a little bit lower, you start hitting 60% and lower, becomes more in that subtractive aspect, that you are probably pulling energy from the room or pulling energy from other leaders in that moment. That you're at a place of health where you need people to kind of prop you up a little bit.
Okay.
And so maybe you're, as a leader, your door isn't quite open. It's kind of, my head's down.
The door's shut and the blind's pulled.
Right.
Don't answer.
Or maybe the door's open, but people, there's this perception of I can't go talk to Chris.
Yeah.
Because, man, he's swamped.
Right.
He's just barely keeping his head above water. And so I don't want to bother him with my problems. Okay.
Yeah.
And so when you walk into a meeting, when you're talking about forward progress, you're pulling from the energy of those around you to be able to move forward.
Right.
You get worse than that. You get down below 40% of health.
Yeah.
You're becoming divisive. Okay. You're going from addition to subtraction to division, and your energy is really just creating problems, or your lack of energy. Right.
Right.
And so, how healthy are you? And the goal is to get above 80%.
Yeah.
Because once we get above 80% healthy, we lean into that multiplying space. That our door isn't just open for people to come talk to us.
Yeah.
We're leaving our office and we're seeking people out because we're healthy enough to a point where we're like, I've got energy to expend.
Yeah.
I have the ability to pour into others. And not just the ability, but I have the time and the resources, the capacity.
Right.
Who can I mentor? Who can I
Right.
pour into? Who needs some help? And so, a 100X leader is somebody who is approaching that top end of health, who's found that balance in their emotions, balance in the skill that they bring to the table, and can pour that into others. And so
good.
the question for us today is, as leaders, is how healthy are you? Give yourself a number. Maybe you don't have to on the air right now, right?
Like, are you asking me?
Yeah. Because, but as you're listening today, give yourself a number.
Yeah.
Think through the different aspects of your life, whether it's, parenting, or, you're married, you're a business owner, you're a business leader, maybe you're a nonprofit leader.
Right.
Think through your various roles, and, when you wake up in the morning, how full is your energy tank for the day?
Yeah.
We've got to have.
If you're waking up and you're feeling drained already and you haven't even got out of bed, that's got to say something. Your number's not good.
Right. And so, our goal is to be a multiplying leader. Because if we're going to lead, leading is serving, that we're fighting for the highest good of others.
Right.
If we're down in that negative and division range,
Right.
we're not fighting for the highest good of others.
No. We're affecting the highest good of others.
Not to be, think Animal Kingdom, you're kind of on the leech side of things.
Right.
And we don't want to be there.
Right.
Right. And so, what are the things that help you become healthy? You know,
That's good.
those are the next steps that we have to think about. Are there processes or systems that we need to put in place in our life? You know, are we having a hard time saying no to things? We say yes all the time.
Right.
You know, we're over leveraged in ways that, you know, our provision. You know, if you go back to the peace index,
Right.
go back through those 5 areas. You know, that if your provision is sketchy and you wake up every day going, I don't know how we're going to keep the doors open today.
Right.
You know, that pulls us down in our health.
It totally
You know,
does.
you think about your personal health, you know, of not just physical, but mental, emotional, spiritual.
Yep.
You know, where is your health at in those things? You know, your place, your purpose. You know, where are these things, you know, where are they leading us? And, you know, are these on the way up? Are they way on the down? How healthy are we? So,
Yeah, good. And you know what? This as we start into this fourth quarter, we've been talking. I don't know if you realized it or not, but we started talking about goals earlier last month.
yeah.
And you know, and then we hit the peace index. I think it was last week. Or
Yeah, just over the last few weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
last few weeks.
Yeah.
And like, this is a great time, even prior to the holidays, to just kind of check yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As a leader who wants to affect change, and I do want to affect change. That's why I love this podcast so much.
Absolutely.
Because I do enjoy seeing great people become better, and I love
Yeah.
being part of their journey.
Right.
So you know, it's use this time wisely as a just a moment of clarity.
Right.
So as you have gone through on taking the opportunity to come up with your goals, go through your peace index, and now even talk about this 100 times indicator, like it's just another great opportunity for you to consider looking at what maybe sometimes some things that are a little deeper
Yeah.
that might be affecting the bigger picture.
Yeah, because there is no problem, there is no shame in saying one of my goals for the next year is to be a healthy leader.
Right. Yeah.
The goal for yourself is not a bad thing.
Or maybe there's something that's been weighing on you. Like I know
Yeah.
that, I mean, you and I were just talking not too long ago that there's some things that I've realized that are weighing on me that I didn't realize they're affecting my bigger picture with all of my roles. And I need to address that so that I can be
Right.
more effective as a leader,
Right.
as a dad, as a business owner, as a leader in another facet. It's just, you don't realize how much it affects the people around you. And
Yeah.
not just, and I mean, everybody goes like, well, don't forget your family. Well, yeah, obviously them too. And I think that they're probably the ones that probably we don't hear about as much. Ugh.
You'll get there.
But because we probably oftentimes see it more at work before we see it with our families, but they are affected too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and I think, I mean, part of my journey is that, you know, I've probably hovered in that 40 to 60 range at times of shifting between additive and subtractive leadership that, you know, just kind of part of my personality is I dig into projects and I want to, you know, I want to see these projects be successful. And so
Right.
you know, therefore I get, you know, overwhelmed. I start too many things, you know, as a creative, I'm just, you know, churning. And the next thing I know, I'm like,
Burnout.
I'm realizing, oh crud, I am really unhealthy right now.
Right.
And I've got to make some big changes.
Yep.
And I just kind of cycle through that in my life, you know. And so this last year for me has really been a journey of how do I break that cycle of, you know, I mean, I've hit up into the green area of, you know, 75, 80, 90% health at times.
Right.
But I've struggled to maintain it over time. You know, I'll cycle right back down into that lower range of
Right.
of floating down there low. And so, you know, I'm really trying to be intentional in my own life of not overcommitting on that project side of,
Yeah.
you know, of trying to be more patient as a leader. And
I think that's the other thing that I love about this. And not that, you know, there's no tool out there that's going to make you perfect, right?
right,
But it's as we grow as business leaders we're looking out for the health of others as well as ourselves, right?
yeah,
You know, these opportunities, there's a reason why they're hitting right now.
Yeah.
Like it's part of a bigger picture. Like as a business owner, you've gone through maybe valleys, hills and valleys, or even just a person going through growth. I mean, like how many of our business owners have we talked to that have got taught something from another business owner and just have been able to learn from that and then grow into who they are now?
Yeah.
So, don't get upset with yourself, but also recognize that, I'm not saying for you, but
Yeah.
like for people that are listening, don't get upset with yourself if you're not where you want to be, but use the time to recognize it for what
Right.
it is and try to change it.
Right.
Because this is our chance. This is our time to think about these things as we go into 2023.
Right.
As we come on the end of the year, like this is a great time to think about that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Because the bottom line is we can't give away what we don't possess.
Right.
And if we want our businesses, we want our organizations to be healthy and we're not healthy,
Right.
or we want that young leader to really explode in his or her leadership, but we're struggling,
Right.
and we don't have the health to give to our leaders and we've got to get healthy.
Right.
It's almost like the airplane, right?
Yeah.
When they do the safety
Safety
protocol,
checks.
right? Put your mask on before putting the mask on of others.
Right.
That's this principle right here.
Right.
You can't give something away that you don't possess. And so
true.
How healthy are you?
Yeah.
Where are you at on that scale? What are the steps to just move the needle a few degrees?
Even it's just a little bit.
Yeah, just a few degrees makes a huge
your
difference.
time.
Step by step.
Right.
Step by step.
I love that.
All right, we've got a great interview coming up here in a moment.
We do. I'm
Yeah?
looking
Tell
forward.
us about.
So this is Jordan,
All right.
and he owns a security company, and he has helped me out in the past too. And
Right.
I've gotten to know him. He's a great guy, I love his story and where he's come from, and so we are going to jump in and chat with him.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
So
All right.
let's do this.
See you in a moment.
Well, Jordan, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So let's just jump right into it. So give us a little bit of, where were you born and raised?
I was born in Indianapolis, and I was raised in Indianapolis.
Okay.
A small part, we went and moved to Florida. It was horrible, and then we came back with nothing.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So you're originally from Indianapolis, spent most of your life here, obviously.
Yes.
So give us, where'd you go to high school at?
Two different places, Southport and Ben Davis. I ended up ending at Ben Davis, not
Okay.
Southport, but yes, I went to both of those schools.
And then from there, did you do any college?
A small part at Ivy Tech.
Okay.
And then life hit, and I took a job as a person at a tent rental company.
Okay.
And then that was my job for many years.
Okay. And you are quite, give us a little journey of your working life. So you started a tent thing,
Yeah.
and then give us a little background of what
About
you're...
17, 18, I started in the summers at a tent company, All Occasion Tent Rental. They're actually local here. And I worked there for, seasonally for about 4 years. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to go do my own thing. I was working picking bread at a place called NGL, and they paid us per pick, which was really good. And just to be completely honest, we were making about $1,500 in 3 days.
Oh,
it was
wow.
money. This is back in 2007.
Oh, wow.
It was great. And then they came to us and said, listen, if you're not hired on, you're through the temp agency, you're going to make $10 an hour. Life-changing. And that's when I went back into the tent and become the general manager there. And then I stayed for an additional 10 years for that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was that was rough, but it had its blessings. I was
Yeah.
in much better shape then.
Kind of have to be to throw those big tents around, huh?
That's true. And then I just kind of wanted to do something else in my life, have more time for my family. So I started a business. There's the joke, have more time.
Right.
And I started with a security company up north. I did really well. I was actually outselling the owner. He had some issues with what he was paying me because I was doing so well, thank the Lord. And he asked me to leave. So I
wow.
left and then I actually partnered up with someone he had partnered up with before and took advantage with. His name is Ben. It's a catalyst out of Franklin, Ben McCall. And we worked together for a little while, and then Ben seen that I was ready to do my own thing, so we split ways, and that's how Mia's Home Security.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So when did Mia's Home Security come to evolve?
2019,
Okay.
February, just where was doing some things. Ben said I needed to get my own LLC. I was trying to, make a name that sounded like a mom and pop place. Now that might not be as great an idea as it was before,
Right.
just because we got so big, but just so people would kind of have like a home feel. And you would not believe how many people ask, well, who's Mia?
Yeah.
And then I get to talk to him about my wife and what her name is and stuff. It's just pretty cool stuff. So, yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you understand 5 years ago, I hadn't had a lick of anything to do with networking, security, anything. And most of this is self-taught,
Really?
You're learning, going to classes,
Yeah.
certification. So it's been a roller coaster.
So when you teamed up with the other gentleman, then you were selling for him, or were you doing installs, or how was that working?
I was an operating partner.
Okay.
So he would bring in leads for me, and he was fair enough to, he'd give me like 50-50. And then like when we'd go do service calls or something, I'd get 80%. The ones I bring in, he'd get 20. It was more like that. And then I would help him with his installs. It was more of a partnership in general,
cool.
but I did a lot of selling for him, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
So you learned a lot more about the business side from him, would you say?
Yeah, Ben was good. The previous company, they kind of taught me like the basics, but Ben taught me a good amount about the business side of it. Really, I learned most of the business side from the people at All Occasion Tent Rental.
Okay.
The owners, Glenn and Julie, they took me and they seen the background that I came from, the brokenness, and they loved me.
Okay.
And they really showed me so much about small business.
Really?
Yeah, and that is literally the reason I was able to start my own, because of their guidance and their love on that in that situation. So
That's awesome.
No college on that, just
Really?
straight boom blessings from God and good people in my life.
That's awesome.
Wow.
So.
What are some of the things that they taught you along the way that you find today is indispensable?
Well, first, that we always thought that they were billionaires because we saw what was coming in, but I had no idea what was going out.
Right.
So coming from that and going into that, being able to serve on one side of the desk and now being on the other side of that. So I was a general manager and a laborer. So I can see it from both points of view. It has helped me so much with the compassion they showed me, so I can have that on my employees when mistakes happen.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, the love and compassion when things go wrong. They taught me about budgeting. You know about it, but they don't teach that in school.
No.
Right. And when you grew up in a family like I did, it was like, oh, we got a big check, let's order a bunch of pizza,
Right.
versus what can we put some in savings, for a rainy day. So they really taught me financial responsibility.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they were good people.
Because that's huge.
Especially if you don't know about it.
Right.
I mean, that's something that most of our young kids today lack. They don't know. It's like, you're not going to be 20 forever. You're going to start hurting. You're going to want to not have to get in that attic when you're 50,
Right.
So, yeah, so.
So tell us a little bit, because I mean, one of the things that I think that many people misunderstand in the business world is like, you go from all this money coming in, and then you think that like you said, the owners are billionaires because they got all this money coming in. Like, what happened that they're like? What opened your eyes?
Taxes. Taxes opened my eyes. Taxes. That's what happens. So, you bring in so much and you're like, well, you're so used to getting a tax return because you have kids. And then you start your own business and then you're like, hold on, I owe that? That's not give to me, those kind of things. So I think that was the biggest eye opener. And then I have to do it quarterly?
Right.
Like, what do you take all my time and my money, Uncle Sam? Like, that kind of was a shocker. But I think it was the weight of trying to please my customers that really got to me at first, because I always want to make sure everybody's happy.
Right.
And as a business owner, I assume that you agree and you agree. You want to make sure your customer's happy, but there are just some people that will not be happy.
Yep.
And to be content with that and know that that's not my fault, that was one of the another big booms.
Yeah, that is a big one.
'Cause we struggle with that because we're
Yeah.
just like, we've done everything we can. The dude's still. And I've been blessed, no one's given us a negative review or anything because I'm always like, what can I do to fix that?
Right.
What can we do? But yeah, that was the biggest. I think those were two. And then the third was how much time it took to make it successful.
Yes.
People think you just wake up and you throw something on Facebook and she's just doing great. No, it's a grind.
Right.
The first 2 years, what I took for jobs versus now, it was slim. The only thing that was different is I had my own freedom versus working for somebody. And then that was the fourth thing. It was like, oh crap, this is not guaranteed.
Wait a minute, the check's not coming in at the end of the week?
Right. I have to go out and get this.
Right.
And that was the four big things to me.
That's
that
good.
Shocked me.
Wow. So you started in February of 19. So you had
Mia's Home Security did.
Okay.
Yeah, that was when we LLC'd.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was doing some side stuff, if I'm being honest, just
Right,
little
right.
stuff.
Yeah.
Just to build a funnel.
Yeah.
When I started.
So that you weren't just like jumping ship and being completely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And me and Ben, we were amicable. So
Yeah.
Good.
yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So that first year then of Mia's Home Security run up to COVID, right?
Was it just you the first year?
It was. I did
Okay.
all my installs and everything.
Okay.
I was much smaller then, so I could fit in attics.
Gotcha.
Sorry, go ahead.
So what was the impact that COVID had on a year-old business at that point?
We doubled in size. We doubled in growth.
Did you really?
Completely, all the Lord. We literally doubled our income. We were amazed. I had another employee at that time that I brought on that we were intended to be partners. He came in after the fact. He later left us for his own endeavors. That was a very painful situation. But yes, that first year, I wasn't nervous. I never was nervous. I always believe God's going to handle it and take care of us. Never nervous. But the problem that we run into is that we didn't make this much and now we do. And now we have a lifestyle of this, and
Right.
that's something they don't teach you either.
Right.
You get this rush of cash, and you're like, well, I'm living it up, and then you're like, oh crap, now I have a capacity for the money. Now I have to make more and more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
So we were not worried. The Lord provided, and we are just ecstatic by that.
So 2020 you doubled.
Doubled. No, 2020 to 2021 we doubled.
Okay.
And then through COVID, we grew.
That's amazing.
What do you think led to that?
Yeah, especially being a 1-year-old business. Most businesses struggle.
Well, I know that this isn't a religious podcast, but I'm gonna be real. It's all God.
Really?
He told me to make a jump. I did it. I was scared. My pastor, Pastor Rob Hovermill, he prayed with me, and I said, "Man, we're gonna do this," and we did it, in blind faith, and it just clicked. There wasn't 1 month that we had made less than the previous month.
Really?
Every month, even if it was $1, So
Right.
I don't know what I was just out there getting it. We usually used Facebook, basically Marketplace, to put on camera installations. We didn't even have enough money to run ads yet.
Right.
So we would get people, and one person would do it, and then they'd tell 5 of their friends, and it was like, oh yeah, good. And then it just kept going and kept going and kept going. And then we made a Facebook page, and then people started, leaving reviews, and we were like, oh, wow. And then people would see those, and they're like, oh, we can call these guys. They're legit.
Right.
And so through that, we gained a bunch of reviews in 2019 that I think helped us float easily through 2020.
That's awesome.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So no advertising.
Not really.
And then, just some Facebook Marketplace stuff, like some freebie stuff, right?
Yeah.
Word of mouth was huge, sounds like.
You and some other people shared our information, and word of mouth was huge. We are AG, the church that we're at, so I was able to do some churches and stuff like that and get our name out. It was really cool.
That's awesome.
And a lot of learning.
That's awesome.
A lot of learning. A lot of learning curves. So yeah, it's just it's a pure miracle.
So if you don't mind me asking, there was a shift there. It sounds like you had a partner at one point, and what did you learn through that growth opportunity?
That was painful.
Yeah. Because I don't know about you, but I talk to a lot of business owners, and they say they actually are like against partnerships, and I am not so much against them, but I know that I have had several friends that have gone through them, and they were painful, and they wouldn't recommend them.
Well, first, let me clarify. He wasn't like a partner yet.
Oh, okay.
I was giving the opportunity. He was
Okay,
he
so
was
he
someone
had-
that I paid really well
Okay.
with what my income was at that time, and our
So he
goal
wasn't an official partner.
correct, but he was the only other employee, and we did a lot together. I gave him a lot of side jobs to help him money wise. It was intent to grow. He was working on the website, all those things, and may I share the mistake that I made?
Yeah, go for it.
I shared my income. Okay, so I was very transparent with him about what was coming in, what was going out. I made some mistakes. I would quote something and then forget that I quoted that, and I'd give the customer something else or whatever, and then I'd fix that. That happened at the beginning. But I shared with him my income, and then I was so generous in giving him side jobs. He got so good at it that I believed that he just thought, I can do this on my own. So going forward from that, I do not share my income. I don't share job cost or anything, because that led to a really painful hurt thing, because I really fed into that young man,
Yeah.
and I feel that he betrayed me and
Yeah.
hurt me. We still talk today, but the way that he did it, and I don't know if you need details, but the way that it happened was really, really sketchy. So.
Well, yeah, we don't need to go into details. I'm just curious to know would you do it again? I'm like, would you do a partnership again if you ever had? And I'm not saying like the way you did it, but would you do a legit partnership?
Yes and no. So a financial partnership would be great, if we're wanting to go to the next level. However, that person would have to be someone that is not a silent partner. Silent partners are really nice to have when you're the silent partner. But if you're not the silent partner and you're doing all the work and they're just financial there, at this particular part in the game, I need somebody that would be on the field with me. Maybe down the road, a financial investor could sit there and just say, okay, hey, I give you some money. This is what I want. And that wouldn't kill me, but I don't know that it's what I need right now, because we're self-efficient.
Right.
That's one thing we never did. We never took on any debt. We never borrowed. Everything just grew on its own.
Nice.
And we owed
All
things.
organic.
All organic, yeah.
That's awesome.
Cool. That's cool. So you went from doing everything on your own in 2019 to you had this potential partnership that dissolved. But now you've got, how big is your team? What do you got rolling?
Well, right now we have 3 people that are working. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but 3 people can get a lot done in the security world. So
Okay.
we've shifted more towards commercial stuff. We still do residential. It used to be 30% commercial, 70% residential. Now it's swapped. It's
wow.
70%
Okay.
commercial, 30% residential. So it's great. The person that I have behind me, my head tech, he's great. We are now hiring more people. So I just put out a thing through our Facebook page to hire more technicians. I'm looking to bring another person on and get another truck. My goal is to have 3 trucks running by the end of the year.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
For a small security company, that's a lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
And especially it's organic, which is
Everything's-
awesome.
Yeah, and I feel that's a real congratulations to the Lord, because I'm not that smart. I'm not that good. I just happen to, be blessed and really appreciate that and not take that for granted.
So what
That's
is?
awesome.
I'm curious a little more about what what the home security. Maybe thinking more residential at the moment. What is kind of your core product, and when somebody calls in saying, "Hey, I think I need a camera for my back deck or whatever," how do you go about communicating the value of what you guys do? How does that help your customers?
That's a good question. Well, I'm kind of a soft-hearted person. I don't mean to self-claim that, but I feel bad for everybody. I think everybody needs security. So, there's a plethora of incomes. So usually I just try to be fair with everyone. But when someone calls and it's a security part for the home security, the biggest thing is that we don't do contracts like the big guys, and we offer the same equipment. I mean, in reality. So it's a little more upfront, like cost-wise, but at the end of the day, it's a better feel. You know, you can call me, I'll answer. It's not a 1-800 number.
Right.
I think that's really what gets people.
Well, and explain, because for those that don't know, like, and you and I have talked about this, like ADT comes out when, like, you call ADT, like, which is another security company, right? They come out and often, like, I know for instance, my in-laws went through a break-in and they had to get security, and they called like a bigger company, ADT or something like that, and they come out and they give this huge package, and then but they don't charge an upfront cost, but yet they hammer you for $100 a month for the next 6 years of your life,
Right.
Trying to figure out how to balance that out. And so, from your perspective, it's different, though. Explain it what it's looked like from a company like your size that does it differently and addresses it differently.
More of a home feel to it. You know, ADT is a large company, and then they subcontract their companies out to other companies. So for instance, my company, Mia's Home Security, could be a part of ADT if I wanted to. I've had offers. I don't want that. I don't want the big town feel. The big difference, in my opinion, is the contracts. No contracts. I don't want you with me if you don't want to be with me. Right. You know, I don't want to put you in something to make you feel it. The other part is that a lot of people want to pay just up front. I can still give a discount, and they don't want to have to worry about all that. It's like, hey, Jordan, sensor's broke. Hey, I'm ordering it. Instead of waiting 4 months or 5 months. Now, I will say, side note, with the chip shortage and stuff like that, that has affected us on some cameras.
Okay.
So some of our customers have had to wait because of that.
Right.
But it's not like calling ADT and, hello, thank you for calling. It's like, hey, I can help you. We'll get you on the schedule. We appreciate you. Those kind of things.
Yeah.
So I think it's more of a mom. You know, it's like going to Denny's or going to a mom and pop place on the side of the road. You're
Right.
going to have a different experience.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
so.
Right. So, do you have any stories of how your like success stories? Your security systems have averted a crisis in somebody's home or business or things like that. What's give us a success story?
I have a few. There's one young man that I do things for. His name is Van Ling. He works for the realty company, I think, Keller Williams.
Okay.
We did some cameras at their laundry and tan. And over off Thompson, they had a laundry truck stolen, and because of the cameras, they were able to find the guy. He was parked at his house with the vehicle, and they were able to save him. I think another one was my cousin Kelsey. They had a fire, and the fire alarm went off, and they were able to get out. She had a young child at that time. That was pretty cool.
Wow.
There's a few.
So it's not just security; it's also like fire. You can incorporate fire and
absolutely. So from if you want me to get into that, I
Go for
can.
it.
So we have a commercial and then we have a residential. So on the commercial side, we do networking. So we can do racks, like networking racks, servers. We do ubiquity style, like access points, those kind of things. We also do the camera systems, and then the heavier side of the security systems, like the Bergs and all those kind of things. We don't do the sprinkler systems. We're not certified for that, and I don't want to be ever. I don't need another headache. But yeah, for the fire side, yeah, we can do that. And then on the residential, we can offer the fire. We can offer, the home automation, the locks, and all that stuff tied together.
Right.
Push one button and everything happens.
Right.
So there's just a plethora of things that we can offer. But on the commercial side, it's really been nice to be able to get into the networking part, because that's just a bonus when you're there doing cameras and doing security.
oh, nice.
Yeah, because it's all tied together.
Yeah, in my opinion, some people try to keep it separate, but it's confusing because you want to go with a company that can offer all of them. That's where we come in. It's like, okay, you mean you don't just live in your mom's house and put in basement and cameras at people's houses? No, we offer these services,
Right.
and this is what we do. And it's like, wow, So yeah, I guess does that explain your question?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So going back, say to to the start of Mia's. What would you tweak if you got a chance to do it over again? What would you tweak, do differently, not do, or something you would absolutely do in hindsight?
I wouldn't have worked out of my Suburban. I trashed my Suburban. It was a newer Suburban. I probably would have bought a service truck or something. That's a good question. Saved a little bit more money.
Yeah.
Put some of the money back into the company instead of just going and having fun with it. I didn't get fat because I didn't eat, so it was good food I was eating. I think I would have probably put more back into the company would have been one thing. A little bit more investigating and understanding my equipment and what was coming, being able to see around the corner, what was going to be good, what technology was about to happen. So I would be prepared for that when we do the changeovers, stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Stuff. Maybe
Because that's a constantly moving process, isn't it?
Oh,
it
man.
is growing. Like the cameras that work this week, next week, there's something that's like, yo, you can get the dually pulley 33,000 or whatever, It's like, but you only have the dually pulley 2,000, So finding the right distributors would have been too, like knowing that I could get the same camera for so-and-so money and I'm paying this and I could have got it for that,
Right.
hooking up with the right people and networking. Networking would have been a huge thing. Just didn't know how to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Using my Facebook as the right tool versus, just sharing posts all the time.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Any systems or processes that you found to be invaluable over the last couple of years?
That's a good question. Well, Dave Ramsey has a really good book that helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
With finances, but systems, like I don't know, maybe be a little more specific. Like with the customers, always polite with the customer. Always, no matter
Right.
what, even if they deserve to get punched. They don't. But you know what I mean.
Right.
So
Yeah.
always. And that has always worked for us. And to always feel like make the customer feel like you've dropped everything for them. Even if you haven't, to let them know, hey man, you're here, it's you, I'm talking to you, you're the guy, I'm not busy, what do you need? I think that's a good system. Financially, allowing my wife to handle the finances has really been a good system for me.
New process in place.
Yeah. CPA, that's something that is a great thing, a good CPA, invaluable.
Right.
So those
Right.
kind of systems, if that's what you meant.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay.
And then a good core of brothers. I know that once again, it's not a religious kind but that you can bang your head off of and say, okay, what's going on? And business owners, know other business owners. That's been a huge system. Get to know other business owners and see how they do things. So.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's good.
That's cool.
That's real good.
Well, Jordan, how would somebody find you? How do we find you on Facebook? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Facebook, it's Mia's Home Security and Automation. I know. I just wanted your hand to cramp when you wrote my name. We are thinking about doing a DBA, but Mia's Home Security. We're on Google. We're on Thumbstacks. We're on Home Advisor. All these different platforms. We have nothing but 5-star reviews. So it's not like we hired my grandma to, like my stuff 73 times.
Right.
So that's a good way. So you can find us there. You can give a phone call at 317-658-7230. And our website is miasecurity.com or gmail.com. We are switching that over from a Gmail. Apparently that's a no-no if you're a successful company to have a Gmail afterwards. You have to buy
Get your own domain.
Yeah. Get your own domain.
Learning.
It's another one of those processes and systems.
Right.
Yeah.
So you could reach out to us, or Chris knows me. So if you need to get hold of him, whatever. Yeah.
Right on.
Yep. Thank you.
Cool.
Thanks for hanging out with us today, and
Yeah.
thanks for sharing your journey, because we do appreciate sitting down with other business owners and just learning through this process together. It's been great.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Right on, man.
Thank you.
Thanks. Hey, Chris, man, thanks for bringing Jordan on today. That was cool.
Yes, I really like Jordan. He's a great guy and just got a great heart. And it was great to sit here and chat with him about his business because it's just, I love the fact that it was so organic, and I love the fact that it was a stepping out on a little bit of blind faith and recognizing that he was being called to do something and took that big leap and has done an excellent job of growing it, even in the midst of a pandemic. Like, you know, so many of these small businesses were doomed to fail at some level because of the fact that the pandemic shifted so many things. Not for him.
Right.
Not for him.
Not 1 month went by that he had less income than the previous month.
Which is just amazing.
Good grief. That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because there was so many businesses shut down, but yet at the same time, like he was still in them putting stuff in.
Yeah. I love the fact that he is just a continual learner. You know, going back to the days with the tent, you know, and under the mentors there, you know, the things that he's learned along the way, learning a new industry, a new trade, certifications. I mean, you know, the pace of change within the technology world and the home security world. I mean, good grief.
Which goes to show you, like, you never know, as a business owner, you never know how you're affecting people. So his mentors at the previous business, even though he's not in that world right now, you know, they affected his business. They've affected his business even from a different light, even though they're not in the same industry.
Right.
So which just is an awesome testament to another business owner out there who's helped him greatly to go through that.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, there's also so many times that we probably fall short or fail in terms of on both sides of not being willing to learn.
Yes.
You know, that we're not humble enough to say, I don't know everything yet. And, you know, we're too prideful, or we're too protective, or, you know, just we want to preserve our, you know, our own sense of success, and we're afraid to pour into others. We're afraid to give ourselves away. And I think we can fall short so easily on both sides of that coin of being willing to mentor, being willing to learn on both sides. And so I think that's super important. So
yes, completely agree.
But man, I loved his vision as well of like, I don't want to be the big town, big corporation. Yeah. I've had offers and no.
It's neat that he's had offers and turned them down continuously, which is just an awesome place to be.
He's like, I want to feel like the mom and pop.
Yep.
You know, I just want to feel like I'm your hometown guy.
Yeah.
And that is part of his, you know, uniqueness in the marketplace.
Yeah, it totally is.
It really is.
Totally is.
Because, I mean, I've had plenty of the other companies come by my house.
Right. Totally.
You know, I've heard the sales pitches and, you know, things like that. And
I'm pretty sure somebody knocks on my door at least once a year.
Yeah, more. Yeah, easily. Yeah. And so, I just love that. I mean, that would be a selling point for me. Absolutely. I would jump on that and go, you know what? Jordan, if you're listening, you probably should give me a call. Because I've turned down others. So, but yeah, that was really cool. So
well, yeah, thanks again, Jordan, for meeting up with us, and make sure you guys check him out. We're going to put his information down in the show notes.
Absolutely.
So make sure you check him out. Give him a thumbs up. Give him a like, because he's got that new Facebook page, and reach out to him if you have any questions in regards to security. So,
and our show notes will now appear on our official leadingisserving.com website.
Right. We are officially official.
Something like that. It only took almost a year. It took a year, but we're there.
Right. Yeah.
And so check us out online.
Taking us up to the next level, huh?
That's right. All the episodes are there, video, audio, both. You can send us your information so that we can keep in touch with you. You can like and review and subscribe and all those things. Yep. You can search all the back episodes and stuff like that.
That's cool.
It's really kind of cool.
I didn't realize that we could do that, but I haven't taken a peek at it yet either.
Well, you know, that whole learning thing.
Yeah.
We'll go down that road.
You're going to help me?
How's that work? Hey, guys, thanks for listening. We appreciate you guys helping make this possible. And, we'll see you next time.
Have a great day.